Good evening, everybody. Hello. Welcome to the first live for the Sensory Slowdown week 1. We are just getting started. Thank you to everyone that's joining live. Let me know if you're live in the comments. And hello to everyone that's watching back on replay as well. It's so nice. We've got so many new faces joining for this challenge. Everyone using the new Heartbeat app as well, which is really, really exciting. So a big welcome to everyone if you're new here, and welcome back to everyone who has been with us before. Now, this first week is all about seeing the world and maybe even ourselves a little differently. Not because things need to change, but because we get to choose how we experience them. So the sensory slowdown, we're looking at all 5 senses over 5 weeks, but we're looking at them a little bit differently. So this week has been about seeing, but not necessarily seeing as in like, let's just look at something. This is all really about our perspective and how we see things. But before we dig into what our challenges are this week and how we're getting on, and a little bit of kind of a deeper dive into that, I just wanted to remind you that this is the very first challenge that we're doing that is funded entirely by some really gorgeous sponsors. So I hope you'll bear with me for a couple of minutes as I say thank you to them all, because without them, this wouldn't exist and the Anti-Burnout Club would be struggling to stay alive. So I want to say a very quick thank you to each of them. First up, we have Alex from Wild and Free at Nature Crafts, and I was actually with her on Saturday at one of her women's wellbeing events. And honestly, if you can get to Cranbrook, if you are anywhere near Kent or can come down, please do get yourself onto one of them, because it was such a lovely experience. And I know some of you have already booked tickets and we're going to be meeting at the event. If you want to come down and you want to make a day out of it or a weekend out of it, let me know and we could organise something all together, because I'm trying to go to every single one of them this year. So that's Alex from Wild and Free Nature Crafts. We've then got Sissel from Foss and Bjorn, who are a sensory necklace company. I'm actually wearing one of hers. I've been wearing it for a while because it's really good for anxiety. So this is like a rubber necklace, and you can sit and twiddle it a bit like a grown-up fidget spinner. And she has some lovely inspirations behind all of her pieces. So this is actually inspired by a lake in Norway, I think it is. And we're going to be giving one of these away. I've got one of these exact ones to give away over the next week or so. So I'll let you know when that competition goes live. She's donated one for you lovely guys. And then finally, my favourites, Freddie's flowers. So I love Freddie Garland. Most of you who have done any of my classes, any of my stuff before, will know I've always got a Freddie's bouquet behind me, and if I don't, it's normally because I'm really, really skint and I just can't afford to treat myself to flowers. But they have given us a really quite special discount on your first one. So it works out that your flowers, the vase, and postage is just 13 quid. So even if you just want to get the one, I'm not going to tell anyone if you then cancel, but it's just a really nice little treat for yourself. And also, because you arrange the flowers yourself, that's why I like them. It's a really nice, like 5-10 minute mindful moment, and you get instructions on how to do it. So if you want your Freddie's flowers, you can use the code Anti-Burnout, and the more people that buy flowers, the more funds that we get from Freddie's, basically. So that helps fund the challenge. So that's it. I promise no more blurb. I just really wanted to thank them all for all of their sponsorship to help keep these challenges up and running. So shall we get on with today's lives and this week's challenges? I'm gonna bring up the calendar. There we go. Here we are. This was week 1. See things differently. Let me know in the comments how many you've done. If you haven't started yet, that's okay. It doesn't matter. I'm going to go through each of them kind of in turn. You can let me know if you have done them, what that looked like for you. So the first one was to shift your perspective. Now, this could be rearranging a space in your house, for example, moving the sofas around, which I love doing every few months. You get a different perspective on your house. For me, it was, some of you saw I put up a photo, my daughter's changing table. She's too big for it now. I still had the changing mat on it, and I took it all off and I've made it like an actual side now. And that for me was shifting my perspective, not only in that space, but all my perspective as a parent, as a having a toddler now, not being a baby mum. So changing something in your space, shifting your perspective of things. The next one we had was reducing visual noise. Now, this was a really good one, and I actually managed, I think it was 6 hours in total, screen free yesterday, which was quite something. But a few of you have noticed, and I saw in Heartbeat, a few of you notice how much visual noise you actually have in your lives. So like one person was saying they've got 2 screens, they've got emails pinging, they've got Teams messages pinging, they've got, all of this stuff going on. And in our lives, we have so much visual noise now, right? I'm literally looking at 2 screens. I've got my comments down here. Hi, Paula. Hi, Andy. I've got my phone there. I've got an Alexa thing that's like going on like loop with images. So much visual noise in even just a dark space where I've turned off the lights. So reducing visual noise is really, really good for our brains, and is a good one to try and integrate in your life as much as possible. The next one, so this was today's, if you're doing it in order, but you don't have to do it in this order, was the first time again. So looking at something that you have or you see every day for the first time. And I did my anti-burnout journal because I wrote this in 2021, and the Anti-Burnout Club was very new, and I was very excited at the time. I was very swept up in it all, that I never actually really took the time to appreciate how beautiful this is and what a good job I'd done at that time. So I was looking at this for the first time again, and it really filled me with gratitude that I had this opportunity from the publisher, that that I had the time and the energy, because I definitely wouldn't be able to do this now. And the same with my other one, but mainly that one, because that was my first step into all of that. So the first time again is all about looking at something that perhaps you take for granted, or perhaps you see every day. Maybe it's a pen, maybe it's a cup, whatever it is, and looking at it for the first time again. The next one, so tomorrow, if you're keeping up with this, a different route. So this is all about taking a different route in your day. Now, if you do not go somewhere the same route every day, for example, if you don't commute, or or you don't walk the dogs the same route, then it could just be changing your routine a little bit. So a different route could be, I'm going to drive a different way to work, I'm going to take a slightly different bus journey, I'm going to walk the dog somewhere different. Or it could be that you're going to switch up your morning routine, and perhaps you're going to have a green tea instead of a coffee, and then you're going to meditate before your shower, something like that, just doing something different. And then Friday is all the appreciation. So this really is about noticing something again, a little bit like the first time again, but with as much appreciation as you can, and try and do a few things within your space right now. So for example, here's something that I've got. I had these little matches made that say Bex Billett, Employee Wellbeing Consultant, right, that go with these candles that say this candle is the only thing burning out at, and then company name. And I sent these to companies that I wanted to work with. I didn't appreciate what a lovely idea that was at the time, and it's right in front of me, so I'm appreciating it right now. I appreciate this very dirty coaster that my sister-in-law bought me, right? Because it was just such a lovely present, and it's Oliver Bonus, and I love their stuff, and I don't usually buy their stuff for me. So really looking at things that you just take for granted around you and appreciating it. So they're your challenges for this week. And I know that Paula, for example, has already done them all. Some of you may not have started them yet. That's fine. You can use the weekend to catch up. You can do it at any time. And then this weekend, I'm going to be sending over how to make your own sensory slowdown scrapbook. So they're the challenges. What I also wanted to talk to you about very briefly this evening is why any of this actually matters. Why are we doing these challenges, other than the fact, they're nice things to do for ourselves, taking 5-10 minutes out of the day. So What I wanted to achieve with this week is really about shifting our perspective, because we are wired for autopilot, right? Our brains naturally kind of filter out all of the familiar. And that's great for survival mode, but it often means we miss all the beauty and the joy and all of those things that are right in front of us because we are just on autopilot. And when our lives are this kind of blur of repetition, so like same room, same screen, same to-do list, we stop noticing the present. We completely disconnect, right? We just go on autopilot. So by shifting our perspective, we're disrupting the stress loop. We're saying, oh, there's something different in our environment. We're being conscious of our environment, and that can reawaken any kind of curiosity, creativity, and choice, which is really important, because it's not about the things that we look at, it's about how we choose to look at them, right? I can look at this same two screens, this same journal, this same candle every single day and not notice them. Or I can choose to look at them from a different perspective, with appreciation, with gratitude, with memories. So novelty calms the brain, and we've seen this in studies where if you do something slightly different, like for example, you brush your teeth with your opposite hand, your non-dominant hand, the novel experience of that creates dopamine. So our brains light up when we try doing something different, maybe because it's a little bit of a challenge, maybe because it kicks us out of autopilot. And that dopamine then gives us that nice gooey reward feeling, and we want to do things a little bit differently. It's good for motivation, it's good for memory, it's good for reducing stress. I think also perspective, changing our perspective helps us feel less stuck. So even if we're in the same situation every day, if we choose to look at it a little differently, or we choose to take a different route, or change things up slightly, it kind of shifts us away from survival mode and into mindful mode, into this appreciation mode. So I really want you to think throughout this week about reframing everyday life. A cluttered space could be a space that you enjoy spending time in, and that's why it's cluttered. Or a grey sky like it is today might mean soft light for rest, reducing that visual noise. Nothing needs to be perfect to be appreciated, it just needs to be noticed. So this week is not about seeing more things. I'm not asking you to add to the visual noise. It's really about seeing things a little bit differently. So don't worry if you feel like this week is a little bit messy, or you haven't done all of the challenges in order, or you've done the challenges all a little bit differently. That's the whole point. This is all about your perspective. You might look at those challenges and go, I want to do this completely differently. Do that. That's exciting. This is your challenge, and I don't want you to get stuck in a, this is what I have to do on Monday, this is what I have to do on Tuesday, this is your experience. So take it as you will. You can always begin again, you can always redo them, you can always repeat them. Whatever it is, even if it's the exact same moment, the exact same object, the exact same day, it can be different every single time. So my last thing for you to take away today is I want you to think about something perhaps in your space now that you've looked at maybe 100 times, and I want you to really look at it this week in lots of different ways, whatever that looks like for you. So pick one object in your space right now, and the rest of this week, just keep looking at it with new eyes, different perspectives. Hopefully this has been a helpful live, and it gives you lots of things to think about and to take away, and remember that this is your challenge. Please do with it as you will. As I've said, Becca said, lovely words. I'm really loving the slow pace of this challenge. Yes, this is what it's about. It's about slowing down, reconnecting with ourselves and the world around us, and really just enjoying it, because we're not here for a long time. So let's just enjoy the experience while we are. And that is it. enjoy the rest of week 1, seeing things differently. And I will be sending your scrapbook challenge downloadable at the weekend. If you've got any questions, don't forget to use the group either on Facebook or on the Heartbeat app. Let me know. Let me know how you're enjoying the challenges too. And I will see you all next week. Take care. Bye-bye.